This episode is about my life update. And before you go off and say, whoa, that's irrelevant to me, I would like for you to just take a minute. You see, I learned a lot of things about productivity and I share those here about productivity, about setting goals, about so many things. And sometimes because you're in a certain setup, you're too used to things, you might think, well, I know these things, I live by them, I stand by them. Any transition that happens through life is sort of like a challenge to the emotions that you've had, to the things that you say you believe, and you're like, okay, if I say this was a priority and after I'm stressed, it's no longer a priority. Was it really a priority? So this will be me sharing my experiences with the things that I talk about a lot. And I hope through it, you also have a moment to look at your life and see how you can improve and learn from it. Hello, welcome to On Your Lane. This is the best place for ambitious people who are taking charge of their lives, making that income, making that impact, and living fulfilling lives. And I'm so excited about this episode because for the first time in a long time, my family has relocated from Malawi, Southern Africa, to the UK, Scotland. It is an epic move because since I've had my children, we have not lived in any other country. I think we have visited, but not lived anywhere else. And so that is a challenge, that is an adventure, that is exciting. And we moved because my husband is studying at the University of Strathclyde. I mentioned it. Yay! That name is just hard for me. So yay for mentioning it without stumbling. But him moving was an opportunity for our family to come experience life differently. And I always think such changes bring you closer, help you grow, and just bring new opportunities your way. So I do my work at home most of the times. My business is online, so I'm at home with the kids, I'm doing all these things. And I thought, hey, new environment, new change, might think differently. My work is really about how I see things, my exposure. And I thought moving to a different country where I have never lived before would be amazing. It's my first time in the UK, and being here with the kids is such an adventure. It is amazing. So there are good things that I've experienced so far. We've been here for quite a bit, and there are things that I miss about home and all that. So it wouldn't be me if I didn't stop and thought about what is happening in my life, how am I adjusting, what are the lessons I have learned, how can I improve and continue to move diligently towards the goals that I have, because it doesn't matter where I am in the world, I still have those goals. My purpose remains the same. It's very interesting to see how it translates in a different space, to see how I operate in a different culture and all that. That is exciting to me. But I always want to have a plan. I always want to have a strategy. I always want to know what I can control and what I can't control, so that I don't just leave anyhow, I sound very, very robotic, but it's not as robotic as it sounds. But I just like to have a strategy. So this episode will be about that transition and how I'm handling it and what I've learned so far about being in a different space, about goal setting, productivity, and life in general. The first thing is comfort is good. I am not sure if you know when you're in the comfort zone that you're in a comfort zone. Because I look back at home and I'm thinking, hey, that was a comfort zone for me. Being in Malawi, being in a place I have always been, doing what I've always done, trying new things, building a business, but still being in a very familiar environment is very comfortable. It has its advantages because then I can focus really on just building that business in that space, but it also has some limiting factors. The limiting factors that I've discovered is that I sometimes just tend to think of Malawi. I tend to address just my limitations in Malawi. I tend to just focus on the opportunities that are there. But the world is bigger. Even with an online business, the way I speak, the way I put myself out there is going to be different. So intentionally putting myself outside my comfort zone is going to add value to how I do business. It's going to add value to how I operate. And I think sometimes you're so much in the grind, you're so busy pushing. You never think about, am I in a comfort zone? Can I have a new perspective? Can I have a change of mind? Can I expose myself intentionally to other spaces? I look back and I'm thinking, I was super, super comfortable. And there are a lot of things that were covered up in that comfort. So there are things that I can trip at when I'm at home and they won't be exposed, right? I can mess up my schedule, maybe I can not pay attention to my kids, but I have house help and I have so much else, like a support system that I have built over time that covers up my mistakes. That is good. But I think sometimes that will prevent some improvement that needs to happen. Like for me, I have realized that when I'm challenged, tend to move away from the things that I say I value. Like, not tend, because that sounds like I do that all the time. But I've seen that when I'm busy, I don't read as much. When I'm tired, I don't pray as much. I will run away from the prayer. I'll actually feel that urge to pray, and I'll be like, what else can I do? Like, this phrase that I've learned, it talks about productivity and mixes it with procrastination. You know, it's like productive procrastination. Yes, productive procrastination, where you know what you need to do, but you keep yourself busy to prevent yourself from doing it. So I know that I need to record this video, but then I'll take care of my babies. I'll start making dinner. Those things are essential. I need to do those things, but not at this time. So you're running away from an obligation. You're running away from something you must do by being productive in something else. Yeah, I think I do that, especially when it's some things that are internal to me, like prayer, reading the word of God, workouts. These are things that I really, really enjoy doing when I'm in Malawi, when I'm in a structured environment. But I found that those are things that are kind of like an inconvenience for me right now. And I've had to really pause and say, am I as disciplined as I thought I was? Or does the comfort cover me? So my take from that is be intentional about checking your comfort zone and exposing yourself to new environments, new spaces. It can be reading books you don't normally read. It can be going to places you wouldn't normally go. Just stretching yourself a little bit so that you can see yourself operate in a different space. And I think having an opportunity like this where my whole family is uprooted to the new space, that is just the ultimate experience in exposing your comfort areas and exposing those weak areas like that. But we don't have to do that. It can just be 2 days going somewhere. You can be reading that book, watching something that is new, and it challenges the things that you find very, very comfortable. The other thing that I've learned is be clear on your goals. Like, have them as clear as possible, but be flexible on the route to get to them. I think I'm very, very focused on the goals that I have set. It took me a while, honestly, to get to a place where I'm clear about my purpose. I'm clear about the things that I want to achieve with my life. It took me so long. It took a time where I felt lost and I felt stagnated. I didn't know what to do. I didn't understand my life. I didn't understand my discontentedness. Now I go to a place where I'm clear about my purpose and the goals that are before me. But one thing that I realized is my methods haven't been flexible. So I'm like, this is how it's going to be, and that's how it's going to be. That's it. If it doesn't work, I'll keep working on it. I'll keep improving it, but I'll keep that route going. I think one of the advantages of having a clear goal is the ability to go through detours and know that your vision will still be met. I talk about that, but I didn't think of it this way for me. That there could be detours. Like, me being here means that I won't be able to do the things that I've been used to doing in my business the way I've been used to doing them. But there are options, right, on how I can still get those things done. Am I open to such options? I want to build a multi-billion-dollar business. Okay, but how am I going to get there? Things like accounting for me are things that I've put behind me. But accounting popped up. It popped up here, and people are talking to me about my field and about my experience, and they're like, oh, we value that, we want you to do this. I was like, oh my goodness, accounting again. But it's part of my story, it's part of my qualifications, it's part of my skill set. So instead of me shutting it down and just saying, no, it's behind me, I've had to look at it again and say, how can I approach this in a way that I don't compromise my end goal, my vision, and my purpose? So that has been really eye-opening for me. You can maintain your goal. You should maintain your goal. Your vision, your purpose, those things are solid. But be flexible on how you are going to get there. Because detours sometimes make the story beautiful. Detours sometimes lead you to the right connections. Detours sometimes are just a blessing. But you have to just be flexible enough to take that detour and trust that you know your vision enough, your purpose enough to stay en route and not be distracted. The other thing is you should have foundational things that are non-negotiable. Yeah, I'm talking about flexibility, but at the same time, you should have things that keep you grounded. When these things are shaken, your life will be all over the place. We already have those things in our lives, but are you aware of them? Like, for me, my faith is very foundational. And somehow when I'm traveling, I tend to be so flexible about it. So I had been living with family for about a month or so. I became very flexible about it, not having consistent prayer time and stuff like that. And that just made me feel empty, that made me feel like I had no direction. I didn't know where I was going, what was happening. I felt stressed. People would talk to me about different opportunities, and being in a different space, I can't just control what I hear because you're learning the environment and everything. And people would say stuff that would cause me stress, that would cause me fear. And I would be like, what is happening? I'm not usually this fearful. I'm not this doubtful. What is happening? It is because I had messed with some foundational things that are non-negotiable for me. Do you know your non-negotiable areas? For me, it's my faith, it's my family, it's what I listen to, what I hear. It doesn't matter where I am. I need to guard my ears because somehow I have a photographic memory and I have a very, very active imagination. If I plant something negative there, it blows up and it affects me in a big way. And back home, I have controlled that. I know who I talk to and who I don't talk to. I know what I watch and what I can't watch. But put in a new environment, that becomes very fluid. And if I'm going to be like, oh, I'm just here right now, so I can just watch everything and whatever, it's just a space I'm in. I did that and it affected me negatively. I found that I was prone to all these fears and prone to all these doubts. I was prone to this insecurity. I was prone to things that I was never prone to in the past. And I realized, oh, you are moving the foundations, Mavis. Don't shake the foundations. So we all have those things. And we should invest in making sure that the foundations, those values that we have built over time, that we stand for, stay solid in spite of where we are. The other thing that I've learned is that you should respect everyone and be grateful. This came up the other day when my husband was trying to get my son to get a haircut. So we were going to just randomly take him to a barber, and then the prices were hectic. And I think because we're still transitioning, it's kind of hard to pay the local price for things that we can't imagine the price of it. Like, let me just give you an example. You pay, let's say, £1 for a haircut in Malawi. You come here and they're telling you it's £15. That's like crazy. So we're still in that phase where we're like, no, we can't do that. We can't do that with a sober mind. So my husband was like, I can cut his hair. And so he decided to do it. And then they took a couple of hours to cut his hair, and they came back. My son looks good, but there were some compromises on however the haircut is supposed to be. Things that when we're back home, he would be telling the barber that you shouldn't do this, you should do that. And then he was like, you know what? I appreciate the barber. I'm like, yes. So many things we take for granted because we are just receiving. It's just a service. But if you are appreciative of the fact that your barber is so good, you treat them better, right? And then you don't belittle their role in your life. And you can even tip them better. So that was something that we noticed when we were transitioning, like when we were dealing with so many things. Like for me as well, I go for my wax at this other place, and just coming here and seeing that the price is like astronomically different allowed me to just be grateful for the service I was able to have in Malawi, and the care and the niceness of a person, but also the price of it. Of like, wow, we are all different. And sometimes some roles get looked down on, but we shouldn't be that way because everyone brings something to the table. When the barber is not present, is not doing a good job, it bothers us. It takes my husband 2 hours to do a 15-minute haircut. Right? He waxed me as well. And it took us hours of screaming and direction and everything just to get that grooming done. Things that I would have done in like 10 minutes back home. So I've just been in a different space where I'm like, thank you. Thank you to all these people that were allowed to come into our lives. We had our own barber, not our own like personal, but the barber we were going to, the waxing lady I was going to, the market person we were going to. Like, thank you for all these people who do excellent work in their spaces that allow us to then live our lives very well and allow us to trust them and enjoy them. And that is, I think, an attitude I want to have all the time, no matter who you are, what you're doing. When we bump into each other and we meet somewhere, I should be able to be grateful for your existence and what you bring to the table. I should be respectful of your choices and what you do and what you bring to the table. This was an eye-opener, and I'm still taking it in because we're still dealing with those kind of transitions where you're like, I'm not gonna pay for that, I'm not gonna buy that way. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, be respectful and be grateful. The other thing is, you can do all things. And that's the truth. Life will challenge you. so much. It will make you question your ability. One time you're feeling like I'm on top of the world, the next minute you're questioning your very capabilities that you were celebrating the previous time. Life will do that. But you have to understand that you can do all things. You have potential that is untapped. You have abilities that you're yet to discover. Just allow yourself to stay in the right environment. Allow yourself to be encouraged, even when you're tested and tried. Encourage yourself and know that if it has come to your door, you can conquer it. If it has come to your path, you can achieve it. Just have that attitude. You will learn, you will make mistakes, you'll stumble, but it doesn't mean that's the end of it. You are stronger than you are, you are more resilient than you seem. And when you allow yourself room to make mistakes, to be young again, no, young again in the sense that you are learning again, you're a student, you're not an expert at anything, and you're just like, okay, how can I maneuver? Then you'll be surprised that you can conquer, you can master, and you can do all things. I needed that for myself because I talked about accounting. I haven't done accounting work in a while. And here it was being brought up again. And this is a new place I'm in. And I have kids who are relying on me to know my stuff and to be able to take care of them and to be able to move around with them. And it sort of like puts a pressure on you to think, I need to be an expert. I need to be on top of my game. I need to put my best foot forward. But sometimes it's just to know that brick by brick, you'll get it. Something can be challenging today, but it won't be challenging tomorrow. Or it might be challenging tomorrow again, but it won't be the same in a couple weeks. Right? So give yourself room to be a child, to learn, to be a student. And then when you make a mistake, to just allow that and say that was a learning point and let me move forward. Because if it comes to your door, you can conquer it. If it comes to your house, you can achieve it, you can get it done. There's a reason it has been able to come to you. There's a reason you have come this far. And it's because you are able. So never doubt it. If you doubt it for a moment, that's fine. But never live in the doubt. You can learn new things. Nobody was born with a fixed amount of intelligence. Nobody was born with a fixed amount of capability. When we expose ourselves to the right environment and the right challenges with the right attitude, you'll be surprised that your capabilities expand. Your intelligence expands. You start to see options. You start to see capabilities. You start to see strengths that you didn't know you had. So, yeah, you can bet on you. You can trust that the God who made you knew what he was doing and that you are able to do all things and conquer everything that lands on your path. The last thing I'm going to share is give yourself grace and enjoy the process. Give yourself grace, right? Nobody was born knowing everything, right? So you're going to be good at some things and bad at some things. It's okay. You're going to have a perfect day and some days not so perfect. You're going to have a clean house, some days not so clean. You're going to look good, some days you're not going to look good. You're going to have a killer workout, some days not so much. You're going to be exhausted and just want to chill on the couch. Some days you're going to be on top of your game and be super productive. There's a balance to things, and you have to be able to live in the balance, to be able to allow yourself grace to say, okay, today is that kind of day where I'll relax. Today, I shouldn't speak too much because I'm feeling cranky. And if I do that, I will just maybe compromise so many things. So I give myself grace to be quiet. I give myself grace to stay in my lane today. I give myself grace to not compare myself with somebody else. Grace yourself and enjoy the process. What makes you laugh? What makes you happy? Do more of that. You could put a comedy show and laugh. You could go for a walk. You could do whatever it is. Just make sure you're feeding that joy in your life so that it's not just a burden to live life, but it is also enjoyable. Because when you are enjoying life, you're most creative. You're going to see most opportunities in your state of enjoyment. So allow yourself the grace. Don't always be like on your back, get things done, get things done, get things done. It's good to get things done, but sometimes you just need to be like, you know what? It's a good day. It's a good day. I did that the other day where I was like, I don't know what to make for dinner. I don't feel like making dinner, so let's see how the day ends. At dinner time, we just made hot dogs, So sometimes I'm like, I want these food groups, micronutrients. My kids should eat well this way, and they don't want to. And it causes me stress sometimes when they don't want to eat the things I'm making. Like, this is food groups, this and that. And they're like, we don't want that. We just want this. And so some days I'm like, okay, today we're not fighting about what you eat. We're gonna have hot dogs. And they're like, woo, yay. And it allows me peace. I don't have the stress of like, eat this, forcing them and whatever, and the stress of preparing the whole dinner only to have people turn it down. So for me, for a moment, I was like, brace yourself. There's so much happening. You are going to get the pace of things. And these are kids. They're not little soldiers in a military camp. And so you are not a sergeant. Is that a thing?
Yes, Sergeant!
Allow yourself grace to chill, to relax, and to be like a child again, to laugh with your family and to eat chocolates and stuff like that. And not every day, but allow that grace so that you can enjoy life and do more of what you love, because that's the whole point of life, for you to do what you're meant to do, but to enjoy the process as well. So yeah, I hope that was helpful for you. I hope you learned a thing or two. And if you did, please drop me a comment so that I can know what you learned. And also please like, share, subscribe. And if you're a person looking to continue to grow, there are some programs that I've put in the description box that you can click on so that you can learn with me and work with me, and we can improve your life and move with determination towards the goals that you have set for your life and the goals that God has for your life. I hope to see you next week. I upload a new video every Tuesday, and so I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.